everyone, welcome to I guess this is part 6 of my in-depth review of the new Blood Angel Codex. As always, my name is Jay. And I must start off by saying that if you want to go see the Jay and Deblet version of this particular video, click on the link right up here. It'll take you to it. The information's awesome. The quality of the video and audio, not so much. So listen along, don't look at the video. It's okay. But today I'll be discussing the heavy support choices, and the heavy support choices for this codex are pretty straightforward. Yeah, personally, the heavy support got, again, there's a lot of moving around in this codex that happened between the last edition and this edition, so it's pretty much a lot of heavy hitting tanks, and so we'll go over them. It's okay, there's a lot of choices. In fact, the heavy support I think is going to be really fought for slot in a lot of Blood Angel players' lists. They're going to have to debate in their head, and they may want to take a double force org to do what they've done in previous codices. So we'll start off with the Storm Raven gunship. 200 points, which puts it in line with the other Space Marine gunships, and all the upgrades are now perfectly in line with the Space Marine gunships. For 200 points, you get a 12 all-around flyer, ballistic skill 4, 3 hull points, twin-linked assault cannon, twin-linked heavy bolter, 4 storm strike missiles, ceramite plating. I know in the previous one they had like blood strike missiles or something like that. They were called blood strike, I'm pretty sure. They've now been changed to storm strike, which have its pros and cons. Special rules: assault vehicle, power of the machine spirit, skies of fury. It has a 12-person transport capacity as well as a dreadnought. And you can replace the twin-linked assault cannon with the twin-linked plasma cannon for free, twin-linked las cannon for free. So I think the las cannon might be the way to go. Assault cannons are sweet too, but the twin-linked las cannon coming on the board can be really deadly. It comes on, and as long as your opponent doesn't have interceptor, he's going to pop something that your opponent does not want to be dead. You can place the twin-linked heavy bolter with one of the following: a twin-linked multi-melta. Again, might be the way to go, because it's so fast it'll be able to catch anything you really want. So you can shoot it with a las cannon and a multi-melta and just destroy vehicles at a time. Or a Typhoon missile launcher for 25 points. You replace its 2 access points with side sponsons, each with hurricane bolters for 30 points. You can take a searchlight for a point. Probably won't really affect you too much unless you're up against Necrons with, you want to take the Stormlord, because you won't be on the table turn 1. So night fighting shouldn't really be in effect. Extra armor and a locator beacon for 10 points. I don't really see those as being a necessity. And that's it. I personally feel that the Storm Raven may have been better suited in the fast attack choices personally, because it's the fastest thing in the Codex. So, and a lot of other armies have fast attack flyers. Grey Knights have the Storm Raven in the fast attack choice alone. So it might have been a better suiting for this codex to move it in, since there are so many things in this heavy support choice. Storm Ravens are still one of the go-to competitive vehicles for a lot of competitive players. So they're going to have to now really debate between these vehicles that they were taking and the Storm Raven. Or maybe one Storm Raven and 2 other things. So up next we have the Devastator Squad. Standard Devastator Squad, now 70 points, used to be 110, so it's gone down huge, but it's basically put it once again in line with the other Space Marine codices. And once again, all the upgrades for the weapons are also perfectly in line with the codices. You get, 4 Space Marines and a Space Marine Sergeant. If you want to get that extra leadership, upgrade for 10 points to a Veteran Sergeant, so it gives you an extra attack and a better leadership for the squad. They have power armor, bolt gun, bolt pistol, frag grenades, crack grenades, signum for the Space Marine Sergeant or Veteran Sergeant. They shall know no fear, combat squads, and Furious Charge. Now, I don't think they're going to be using the Furious Charge too much. If your Devastators are assaulting, something's going on. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just about to be shot up and they want to assault, but usually Devastators don't do too much assaulting. They could take Melta Bombs on the Veteran Sergeant or the Sergeant for 5 points. And, yeah. They have access to the ranged weapons and melee weapons, and they take a Rhino or Razorback as a dedicated transport. And as I said, all the upgrade points are now in line. Some got a little bit more expensive, some got a little bit cheaper, but they're now perfectly in line with the other Space Marine codices, specifically the 6th edition Space Marine Codex and the 7th edition Space Wolves Codex. So they're ranged weapons: Stormbolter for 5 points. Combi Flamer. Sorry, those are the ranged weapons. So they have access to heavy weapons. Sorry, the heavy weapons list. So that's what I wanted to look at. Heavy bolter 10, heavy flamer 10, multi-melta 10, missile launcher 15, flak missiles 10, plasma cannon 15, las cannon 20. Personally, if you're going to take devastators, I'm still a huge fan of las cannons. I know people still like the missile launchers, but I'm a big fan of las cannons on devastators. The reason being is las cannons can blow up vehicles. You know, missile launchers are AP3, so you got to just pen a vehicle to death, and that's not as fun as just one hitting it with a las cannon blowing it up. You know, get to do much more damage, emergency disembark for your opponent. So I'm a big fan of at least a couple las cannons in your devastator squad. So that's my opinion, but I think it's a solid choice. Up next we have the ball predator, which used to be in the fast attack, but now it's in the heavy. This is one of the ones I wish was still in the fast attack as well, because then, you know, one of the fun lists that people used to take was the ball predator spam list, but unfortunately that's gone unless you want to take multiple force organization charts. The ball pred is still ballistical 4, front armor 13, side armor 10, side armor 11, rear armor 10, 3 hull points. You get a twin-linked assault cannon, overcharged engines, which makes it fast. Searchlight, smoke launchers, and you can replace the twin-linked assault cannon with a firestorm cannon. That's going to be fun if you're up against a hordes list. You may take side sponsons, which are armed with one of the following: heavy bolters for 20 or heavy flamers for 20. Once again, if you're up against a hordes list, heavy flamers. And you can take items from the Blood Angels vehicle list. It's now 115 points. So in case you're wondering, it did go down in cost. It went up in cost. It used to be 100, and it went up to 115. So yeah, it even went up in cost and got moved. So, but here's where I think is a better option: the Predator. I think the Predators are now better than the ball preds if you're looking at a heavy support choice, because for 10 points, because they're at 75 points for a Predator, right? 75 points. Once again, it went up in cost slightly. We used to be 70, now it's 75, in line with the Space Marine Codex. But for 10 points, you can give it an overcharged engine. So you got a fast Predator with an autocannon for 85 points. But now, and once again, it's front armor 13, side armor 11, rear armor 10. But you can take las cannons on it for 25 points. So you may replace autocannon with a twin-linked las cannon for 25 points. So for 30.5 points more, so 110 points, the 5 points cheaper than the ball Predator, you get a Predator with a twin-linked las cannon that's fast. That's pretty fun. Once again, las cannons I think are kind of the key in competitive play these days, or if you want to pop your opponent's vehicles, because las cannons have an AP, and you need to have a good AP to destroy vehicles in one shot. You know, they're good strength, they have great AP, and they're good for destroying vehicles. So if you give your Predator a twin-linked las cannon that's fast, it could just fly around the field destroying stuff, basically. It's going to be fun. And it's cheaper than the ball pred. So that's a pretty good option. I think that's going to be a really cool option to try out for Blood Angel players. Up next, we have the Vindicator. It's a standard Vindicator now. It's no longer fast, but you can upgrade it to fast for 10 points. It's 120 points. The Vindicator used to be, I think it's stayed the same thing, about the same. Either way, it's same cost as the Space Marine Vindicator. And you Demolisher Cannon, Searchlight, Smoke Launchers. You take Overcharge Engine for 10 points. Siege Shield for 10 points. Might be worth taking. And it's front armor 13, side armor 11, rear armor 10. So once again, I think if you take one of these vehicles, I don't see a reason not to take the overcharged engines. You want it to be faster. That way you can move 12 inches and still fire that giant pie plate of doom onto your opponents versus moving 6 inches. You know, it's a huge difference, especially with pie plates. 6 inches is a huge gap. You really want to get as far as you can so you have the best options possible and the best range possible to drop that pie plate of doom on your opponent, right? It's going to destroy anything it touches, so you want to get as far as possible. So a fast vehicle is the way to go. Whirlwind, same thing, 65 points, cheap whirlwinds, because Space Marines now get cheap whirlwinds. It's the thing. You take Overcharge Engine for 10 points, so if you're going to take a whirlwind, take a 75-point whirlwind with a fast engine. And it's a whirlwind. You had a whirlwind, multiple missile launcher, searchlight, smoke launchers, 65 points. Overcharge engines, 75 points. You know, with the overcharge engines, 75 points. And finally, the 3 Land Raiders. A Land Raider, as I say in most of my videos, a Land Raider is a Land Raider is a Land Raider. Land Raiders are the dedicated transports for Terminators still. And you get a Land Raider for 250 points, a Land Raider Crusader for 250 points, and a Land Raider Redeemer for 240 points. If you want to take a large transport capacity, you go with the Crusader, 16-point carrying capacity. I personally love the Redeemer due to the Flamestorm cannons are one of my favorite things to use, and it has a 12 model capacity, so 6 Terminators. 5 Terminators in a squad and a leader go perfectly in a Land Raider Redeemer. Or there's just a normal standard Land Raider if you want. It has a 10 model carrying capacity, so it's 1 squad. Has this twin-linked heavy bolter, 2 twin-linked las cannons, searchlight smoke launchers. It's a standard Land Raider, right? And assault vehicle, power the machine spirit. I believe the Land Raiders had the ability to deep strike in the previous Codex. Now this was not really a used tactic by most people, I believe. Most people just brought them in on the field normally, or moved them from reserve. They didn't deep strike them because it's kind of interesting, a deep striking Land Raider. I guess you could have, and you had the option in the previous Codex, and you don't have that option anymore in this Codex. I don't really see that being too much of a nerf or anything. Most people are going to start with their Land Raiders on the table anyway, but I guess it was a tactic that you could have if you wanted to deep strike your Land Raiders. Now you can't. So, and that's it for the heavy choices. So overall, I still think that I really do think that the Storm Raven is probably going to be the go-to heavy support for most competitive Blood Angel players, since it is still just the craziest thing on the table. It's a flyer, awesome weaponry. You can just load it to the brakes with guns and blow up your opponent's things. The Ball Pred, I still think I think the Ball Pred, now that the Predator has the option for the fast things, I think you should take a Predator. Give it a twin-linked las cannon, overcharge engine. Devastators are solid if you want them to be a backline support. Vindicator, if you're going to take a Vindicator, definitely give an overcharge engine, and your opponent will regret the day that he brought Terminators. Whirlwinds, cool if you want to go around against a bunch of Horde armies. Not many people took Whirlwinds anyway in competitive play, but Whirlwinds could be the fun list to go if you're up against a Horde army. Bring a bunch of Whirlwinds that are fast, just moving around the field, fast, dropping pipelights that do on your opponent. And Land Raiders. A Land Raider is a Land Raider is a Land Raider. I would typically take Land Raiders as a dedicated transport. That way they don't take up a heavy support choice. You don't want to take up, your important heavy support choice with a Land Raider that you could use as a dedicated transport. So that's it. So thank you very much for watching this episode and this part of my in-depth review of the new Blood Angels Codex. Stay tuned for the next one, where I'll be going over the Lords of War and the formation. And as I mentioned before, if you really want to check out, if you want to see the two-person interview review that I did with Deblet, click on the link up here. It's really cool. I will warn you about the audio and video quality, but the information that Deblet brings to the table is awesome. So thank you very much for watching. Till next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting.